All right, so we're back here on another Couch Coach Live, continuing our ninth annual Couch Coach Live NFL previews. So tonight we got to preview the Philadelphia Eagles. So got my guy, our Couch Coach Live cousin, one of our honorary cousins. I got Cool, obviously Cool, Eagles Elite, the play callers,
Sports talk show,
what's yep, all that rolling
NFL
through one,
matchup madness,
all of
NFC
it.
beast. Let's
NFC
go.
Beach, yes. What's going on, Cool?
Hey man, I'm living good. I'm good, bro. How you doing?
Good, man. We're here. Previewing previewing all 32 teams in the National Football League. So I definitely had to bring in my guy to preview the Philadelphia Eagles. So but yeah, and very interesting offseason to say the least for this Philadelphia Eagles team. A lot has changed in this offseason. So cool. Your thoughts on just the overall offseason recap, and then also what do you deem as the team's biggest acquisition?
Man, this was an off season that I honestly can say I did not expect from the Eagles. A lot of big moves, man. A lot of big moves done this off season. It's hard to narrow down just one, but we all know what the real one is. So I'm gonna just go ahead and start off with that, and that's gonna be AJ Brown. And what makes AJ Brown so important to just the Eagles overall? It's the fact that we needed that receiver, still young, you know, but that has some experience, has had success in the NFL to pair with Devontae Smith. So now you look at from guys being able to double team and basically try their best to take Devontae Smith out the game and cause problems for the offense, cause problems for quarterback and different things. Now we're able to take a guy like Jalen Rager if he's still on the team. That's a whole different story. But if he is, we're able to take a guy like that and move him to a fourth or fifth receiver versus him being a starter like he was last year with his inability to make enough catches for the team to help us be successful. So being able to get out of that is major for us. But so many great acquisitions, right? There's so many great acquisitions. I'm trying to hold everything to small conversations, to say to not like take 15 minutes per acquisition because we got more things to talk about. But a guy like James Bradbury, he got brought in. That's going to be super, super, super helpful because now you're looking at a guy on the other side that's going to be just as dominant, just as good, in most cases as Darius Slay. When you have one really solid corner or better and one okay corner, the problem that you run into is teams can plan, let's go away from him. But when you can get a corner on the other side that, may not be the same caliber 100%, but still in that same category to most people, as far as being another really solid corner, that's a big pickup because it just helps you be able to do more. Now you have two guys who you can give 10, 15 seconds and they can still get things done. Now, a very underrated signing from earlier in the offseason, Hassan Reddick. Hassan Reddick, Philadelphia guy from the area, came to us from the Panthers. Free agent signing earlier, big for the defense because of versatility. He's a guy that can play linebacker. He's a guy that can rush. You can put him as a defensive end as well. So he has versatility. Biggest thing that I like about what we've been able to do so far this offseason is signing guys with versatility. Excuse me. Jordan Davis in the draft. Jordan Davis was a huge pick because of what? Size and athleticism, a guy who can learn under the foot of Fletcher Cox for at least a year, and then he can come into his own. He's going to be, from everyone's perspective, he's going to be a beast. He's a guy that if anybody besides Fletcher Cox was playing in front of him, he'd probably be starting by the beginning of the season. But Cox is so good that, that probably won't happen unless, heaven forbid, something happened and Cox or Graham gets hurt, which we definitely don't want. We can go further down, look at Nakobe Dean. Big pickup, in the draft, third-round pick. A middle linebacker who can come in, has some versatility, can play Mike or Sam as well. So he's a guy that can play either one of those positions. He's learning all three. He's doing well when he's hitting the field. You also have Jacoby Stevens, another linebacker that we drafted in the 6th round. A lot of people haven't talked about him much because of Nakobe Dean, but still a very important pickup for the Eagles and a guy that is going to have a depth role. Go to safety, big pickup there, Jaquiski Tart. People can say whatever they want, but what I want people to understand is Jaquiski Tart is a player. He's a strong safety. He's a player. He may start, he may not start, but he's going to have an important role on the Philadelphia Eagles this coming year, and we're going to need him to play well. Anthony Harris, he's a guy that we brought in. Marcus Epps has been with us for a few years, but we brought in Anthony Harris. Those two guys are being reunited as safeties. So another small, but still, I think, very good move. And we cannot talk about additions. And I'm going to cut it off after this one, Couch Coach, because I know we got other things to get to. I got one more. We cannot talk about additions without talking about Kazir White. Kazir White played on the team in the Chargers where he was on the bench. And I will say this from what I saw from him going back and watching film of him, what I saw from him in the preseason game, what I saw from him in camp so far, this man can play. Sometimes you just get in a situation where you just don't have a chance because there's so much talent in front of you. But that makes you hungry most of the time. That makes you more determined when I get my shot to make the most of it. And I think that's Kazir White for us. And that's another pickup. And I mentioned a lot of linebackers, but remember, the Eagles linebacking core last year was a joke. Just 100% being real. So that's why a lot of pickups in that position to try to rectify a situation that should have been taken care of years ago. But A.J. Brown is still the pickup of the offseason. That dynamic, that big body, that missing element from the offense has now been placed with Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith. Quez Watkins looks like he's going to be the number 3 receiver, the way things are shaking up right now. I think he's definitely earned that. Tight end, another position where we could use a little bit more depth, but we still look good with Dallas Goedert and some of the other guys that are behind him. Then once Tyree Jackson gets back from injury, hopefully the last time, then he'll be able to have a role as well. But definitely A.J. Brown. But there were so many other pieces that we needed. So the thing is, when you have this many good pickups, that means you didn't have that many good players last year, or you wouldn't need all these pickups. So we should see a better and more revamped Philadelphia Eagles defense and offense this year.
Big time.
This is from a playoff team from last year. Let's go.
I guess. So I gotta remember I gotta stay professional.
It hurt, don't it? It hurt a little bit, don't it? Yeah. I get it.
So what's the biggest storyline heading to the season for this Philadelphia Eagles team?
Number 1, Jalen Hurts, QB1. That's it. Like, the weapons are there, but we have to see the development and the continued progression of QB1. He's got to be the guy for us. Like, he's got weapons. All reports, what I've seen so far, he's throwing the ball better spin on it, better movement, better release point, different motion. He spent his whole offseason pretty much doing the different QB gurus, working on that. Did some workouts with A.J. Brown in hopes that he would get in there. He got what he wanted. So, I mean, the storyline is him. Like, we have a lot of other proven pieces in different positions. Now we need QB1 to be the guy. If QB1 is good, we can go deep this season. If QB1 is not good, that could present a lot of problems for us moving forward.
Big time. So, your thoughts? What's your thoughts on this offense and just your overall outlook for this Philadelphia Eagles offense?
Depth. My biggest concern is a big body running back. That's the thing I think we don't have. We have guys like Boston Scott, Miles Sanders, Kenneth Gainwell, but we don't really have like that big back, right? I don't feel like we have that one like major big back that you kind of may need when you need a couple of yards. Now we have Kennedy Brooks, who was a rookie free agent that we signed. He did play college ball with Jalen Hurts at Oklahoma. Not saying that's the reason why we signed him, but he's a little bit of a power back, I guess you could say. But he's still not really that big, strong power back that I feel like we need. I think quarterback, we're set if something were to happen and Jalen Hurts were to not be able to play. I feel as if we would be, able to last a few games with Gardner Minshew. Don't know what we have behind him and Reed Sinnett and Carson Strong. What I saw them this past game against people kind of fighting for their jobs as well was a little disturbing. But, at least I feel like the top two there. I feel like we have good depth at running back, just not, like I said, that big back. Once we start talking about, offensive line, I think every position we have two quality guys on every position at the offensive line, right? You look at the line, you got Jordan Mailata as your left tackle, Andre Dillard's his backup. You've got Landon Dickerson at left guard, Sua Opeta is his backup, another decent, backup. You look at center, you got Jason Kelsey, but he is advancing in age. We did have to talk him back and buy him back with beer and things to get him to come back this year. But we drafted Cam Jurgens. And Cam Jurgens, from what we saw from him this past game, because he got extended time because Kelsey didn't play, and he's also getting reps for the second team, looks really solid and looks like a guy that if we need, he can step up. You look at Isaac Samolu at right guard, and then behind him you have Jack Anderson. Then you look at right tackle, we know Lane Johnson, but behind him we got Jack Driscoll, who's another decent guy. And then Landon Dickerson, you think about it, he was drafted 2 years ago to be our center of the future, and now he's our left guard of the future. So a lot of solid depth there going too deep across the offensive line. I think Philly has a top 5 offensive line. I think the depth is a big piece of it because it's not just, this guy gets hurt and now you're in trouble. I think the guys that are behind them can come in and do some things. Biggest position of concern right now is for me on offense is tight end. Running back, the big back would help, but I don't think that's a concern because Boston Scott can still get yards because he's small, solid, big body. But I think at tight end, you've got Dallas Goedert, but then your next best tight end is Jack Stoll, who he's not a bad guy, but he's definitely your second or third tight end. He's not a guy you ever want to have to rely on to be what Dallas Goedert should be for this offense. You've got Grant Calcaterra. He was a draft pick this year. Great upside. But the thing with him is the concussion history. He had retired from football once due to that. But then Tyree Jackson's on the physically unable to perform list. He'll start off there. But he'll get back. Once he gets back, that's going to drastically change the tight end position. Driscoll can go back to being, not Driscoll, but Stoll can go back to being that third tight end, that second, third tight end kind of swap thing where he's really good at, I think. So that's that. We've already talked about the wide receiver position. Depth is pretty good there. You got Greg Ward, Zach Pascal, and Jalen Reagor right now as your twos. I think John Hightower has done a lot in camp. And the surprise of the camp for offense has been Britton Covey. Britton Covey's fast, and he actually has solid hands. Remember, he's a track star too, so he's a guy that performs on that level as well. Really fast, lots of speed. If he can run the routes, get a couple of routes he can run and make the catches, we may have a little shocking surprise there with Britton Covey.
Let's talk about the other side of the ball. Your thoughts and outlook on this team's defense.
Boy, listen, man. I've been a Philadelphia Eagles fan ever since I can remember. I'm telling you right now, this defense that I see right now, like I said earlier, a lot of additions. That's because there were holes that needed to be filled. But you still got Brandon Graham. You still got Fletcher Cox. You still got Javon Hargrave. You still got Josh Sweat, Derek Barnett, right? And that's just your defensive ends and tackles. And that's your starters. You go to linebacker, which was a very disturbing position for the Philadelphia Eagles last year. There's no other way to put it, real as can be. You got T.J. Edwards, Kazir White, Hassan Reddick. Behind him, you got Davion Taylor, who played really well last year until he got injured. Nakobe Dean, Patrick Johnson, You know, Jacoby Stevens, a late pick, like I talked about a little while ago, another guy that's going to be in the mix for making a team there. It's just so much depth, so much flexibility, and so much better than last year. You know, safety, we were good at safety last year, but we did have, we lost Rodney McLeod, grabbed Anthony Harris, grabbed Jaquiski Tart. Excuse me, Kayvon Wallace is back. Hopefully he's going to be able to step up and be that guy that can play either position if needed. Marcus Epps, everyone's been raving about him, and what I've seen from him, he's really stepped up as well. A lot of guys seem hungry. A lot of guys seem like, last year, maybe I was one of the guys that they were saying need to be replaced, or we need to get other guys in this position because I'm not good enough. And it seems like a lot of those guys are saying, you know what? Maybe I'm not good enough, but I'm going to go out and give it all I got. And if that's not enough for you, it is what it is, but I'm going to give you all I got. And that's kind of seems to be the prevailing thought amongst the guys who were in this locker room before this past offseason. And then we talked about safety. We talked about corner. We got Darius Slay, big play Slay. We already know what that is with him. We talked about James Bradbury. Talked about what he's going to bring. And then you got Avonte Maddox, another good starter, another guy that I'm very high on as well, that I like a lot. Behind those guys, you got guys that you probably know if you've watched the team in the past, listen to what we have. Zach McPherson, he's a guy that we drafted. We don't historically do well with drafting corners, but when they're playing behind these caliber of guys, maybe that makes a difference. Josh Joby's another left corner. Tay Gowan. Tay Gowan was gotten into trade for, I really don't even want to say it because it hurts so deep down. But my favorite tight end, man, he's gone. He's gone to Arizona. Can't say his name right now. It still hurts. Say his name later. For the sake of the show, Zach. Yeah. Zach Ertz for the sake of the show. But yeah, I liked Zach Ertz, man, but I understand the financial decision and a lot of other things were able to happen because we were able to move on from him. Kerry Vincent Jr., Josiah Scott, backup corners we got. Jimmy Moreland, Mac McCain, Mario Goodwich, Josh Blackwell. So a lot of different really good pieces on the defense, a lot of good depth. We're not asking a lot of people to go out and make a play every play the whole game, be as energetic play one as you are the last play of the game and you're playing the whole game, a lot of depth. So we're going to be able, at those times where the offense may not be clicking, because it happens with every offense, there's enough depth on the defensive side of the ball where we'll be able to get guys breaks if needed. We'll be able to situationally play guys. We'll be able to come with different formations because we have guys that have versatility now and guys that understand what to do at their position, that have experience with playing in the NFL and have also played well when given the opportunity. So that's a lot of things that we may not have had at every position on the defense last year that we do have this year. So I'm really excited about what I think Philadelphia is going to be able to do on the defensive side of the ball as well. I think we're looking at modestly a top 10 defense. I'm going to say top 7 to 5. But I think this defense, if it plays to its potential, is going to be something that's going to help the offense the most because they're going to get 3 and outs. They're going to make big plays. They're going to get turnovers. They're going to do the things to help the offense as long as the offense does what it needs to do and is able to prolong drives, which there is no excuse for not being able to this year, period.
Yeah, big time. A huge shout out to my 15 South Oak Street brethren, Kevon Wallace. And then also I got my 804. I got Ann as well too, Ann Harris. So definitely huge shout out to those local guys.
Hey, they wearing green. I got love for them.
That's the only. I got love for them except for two occasions, and that's all. It's at Washington or versus Washington at the link. So other than that, y'all my guys. But and we know, like, when it comes to the Eagles and this everything, everything that just comes with everything.
Everything that comes with everything.
Right. I mean, it's one of the things we know how it comes with the matchup that you got coming on with this season. What's the games you got circled on the schedule?
So there's a couple of games that you have to circle. So the first game is September 25th at 1 p.m. Eastern in Landover, Maryland, when we play the Washington Commanders. You got to circle that game because that's the first time that we are going to get Carson Wentz on the other side of the field. That's going to be an experience. That's for sure. Because there's a lot of guys on that team that may want to reintroduce themselves to Mr. Wentz after a lot of leaks of how he was behind the scenes as a leader in our locker room. So I think that's a big game. It's also a divisional game. So you want to try to get out early. If you can, it's our first divisional game. Try to get out early and get you a win if you can. Road game, so it's always good when you can try to beat a divisional opponent on the road. I don't count in the bag. I personally don't have a lot of confidence in Carson Wentz, but he's not my quarterback, so he could come out that game and be extra motivated because he's playing against us, just like we could be extra motivated playing against him. But I think it's a game you got to circle. It's definitely the first one that we have that you need to circle. Another important game to me for us is going to be October 30th against the Pittsburgh Steelers. So people will say, things like, oh, the Steelers aren't what they used to be, and, blah, 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 blah. First of all, it's the battle for Pennsylvania. So you want to have bragging rights in the state that you're in. We beat the Steelers, that's bragging rights, right? The only thing that would supersede those bragging rights is if they win the Super Bowl. And with their situation at quarterback, I don't foresee that happening. So we can get the bragging rights by beating Pittsburgh. The day before Halloween, we can make them look like clowns. So definitely want to get that win. But if we don't get it, it's not the end of the world. We're still going to win a lot of games this year. But those are definitely two. And then there's one other game that should be circled, and that's against Aaron Rodgers, the two-time reigning MVP, and the Green Bay Packers on November 27th. Playing against Aaron Rodgers. Oh, in this Sunday night game, by the way. Playing against Aaron Rodgers, it's going to be interesting. He's actually got to come to Philadelphia. So those of you who follow us, maybe because we're in the same division or just interested in the team, we haven't always been as stalwart as we should be at home over the last few years. I saw that kind of change a little bit last year, and I hope that continues to change. But Sunday night game in Philadelphia, Green Bay Packers, they're a cold weather team too, with the MVP, even without, the receiver that he's had for so many years. I think he's going to be fine. I think he's going to spread the ball around, and he's still Aaron Rodgers. With the one thing that Stephen A. Smith says that I agree with, one of them is he's a bad man, and he is. He'll look crazy, but he's a bad man.
Yeah, like you said, that matchup against Pittsburgh, you never know. You talk about matchups. You might have a Mitchell Trubisky, my guy. He might be in a Joe Montana costume on that Philadelphia Eagles defense. So
Kenny Pickett might be out there, and not even your boy.
Yeah, Joe. All right, Mitchell Joe Montana Trubisky.
Hey, I'm gonna say this.
Yeah.
Anything is possible. I'm gonna hit you with a Kevin Garnett. Anything is possible. I'm gonna let that one go, but I don't foresee that. But hey, anything's possible.
Yeah. So cool. I got to ask you the $60 million question. In 2022, the Philadelphia Eagles will finish.
So this is tricky. All right. So it's either going to be 11-6 or 12-5. So it's not necessarily like it's. I don't really feel like I'm hedging my bets because I'm saying like one game. I'm not saying like they're going to be 8 wins or 12 wins, but I'm saying it's going to be either 11 or 12 wins. I think we look right in that 11 to 12 wins range. We're going to lose at least probably 1 or 2 games in the division. We're going to lose a couple games outside of the division. I don't expect to go, undefeated. I'm not one of those unrealistic fans. We're going to lose some games, but I'm thinking 11-6, best case scenario 12-5. That gives us, a couple of games that you maybe should win, but you're not quite as motivated. Maybe somebody's out. Maybe you just get out coached a little bit. Our coach is still going into his second season. Our offensive coordinator, this is his first full season as the play caller because he took over play calling once we kind of switched to a more run-heavy offense last year. But he wasn't a play caller early in the season when we were, trying to make Jalen Hurts and Joe Montana. But so, we'll see. But I'm thinking we should be somewhere either 11-6, best case scenario, 12-5, which I think should win a division and also get us a top 2 or 3 seed in the NFC.
Noted. All right.
I said it. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
it's on film.
You're right. And last year, you called everybody's bluff, and you did say that this team was gonna win like 9-10 games last year.
Talking about we're gonna win 5-6 games. They call no names. They ain't call no names, but guess what?
It happens. Right. Hey, we were all wrong, but so this might come into fruition for you as well. You might be 2 years in a row on the roll. So but yeah. So this.
I ain't messing with you, man.
Right. I know. Right. All right. So we'll put up on this Philadelphia Eagles preview. Cool, man. Where can they find you on social media, and then let them know all the upcoming project that you got going on?
All right. So you guys might want to get you out of pad for this because it's gonna take a minute or two, but we're gonna roll through it. So we're gonna start off with Twitter. So you can find me on Twitter at Cool McCain. I'm a good follow. I don't tweet every day, but when I do tweet, it's normally I think something quality. You can find me on Instagram at Cool_McCain. Find me on Facebook at Cool McCain. As far as projects go, we have the NFL Matchup Madness. That's going to be starting September the 6th, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's going to be on playcallersportstalk.com, which is also where you can find me on Friday nights along with my co-host, the other half of the Tag Team Champs. And yes, I said it, Tag Team Champs of Interactive Sports Talk. And that's Play Callers Sports Talk Show, Friday nights, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can find me along with this commie fan over here on Saturday nights, starting Saturday night before the season on the NFC Beast show. We're going to basically be talking everything in the best division of football. If you don't like it, then no one cares. And then you can also find me on Wednesday nights, getting my days mixed up, at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Eagles Elite Podcast for that. If you just go to YouTube, type in Eagles Elite Podcast, you're going to see the fire logo pop up. You're going to see me, 2 other faces pop up, and you're going to hear some really solid information, opinions about your Philadelphia Eagles. And let me remind you, interactive, year-round Philadelphia Eagles. So you tune in to us June, July, August, January, February, April, May, it doesn't matter. We there every week talking about our Philadelphia Eagles. Because somebody got to do it, and why not us?
Big time. Once again, Cool, appreciate you for coming through, previewing the Philadelphia Eagles. And,
always.
So once again, definitely catch you guys on the next team, and we're out.